cares about George? Put that on the record.
Also, when you put these cables on, can you put them on the right way?
I've never put these on, so you just said.
Gotcha. I just said plug it in.
Yeah. Gotta give me specific
Jeff, can you fix
instructions.
your cable on there?
What are you doing?
Just bringing out product. Hello!
Lord, it's so loud.
This is BakaTaka. We're back with the boys. Here, as always, sitting on the left, it's
Jeff.
in the middle, it's
Erik.
and I'm on the right, and I'm Chase. And this is BakaTaka.
We're never going to have all four of us, are we?
Next time should be all four of
I
us.
feel miserable.
Well, just working too much last week.
Working too much. It's raining today. Nothing's lining up.
I mean, hey, at least it wasn't like burning hot all week or anything.
You didn't work in Bethesda all week.
Right, I worked in DC.
Instead, there's cicadas everywhere.
Oh my goodness. Here we go. Oh my goodness.
You get into a bush and like 10 of them fly out.
So just yesterday, I walked up to a tree to look for a pipe, right? Got a
Right,
reading. Normally you see like little brown like leaves on the ground. You're like, oh, those are leaves or stuff. I got closer. It was all cicada shells. It weren't leaves. There's 1,000 of them.
Oh,
Like, it
man.
is biblical out there.
And they like kamikaze you.
Oh, yeah.
Just like,
Erik comes home and mom has to like shake at his boots and clean out the bottoms and stuff. She's like cicada shells everywhere.
I mean, dogs love them for some reason. Animals love cicadas, but they don't agree with dogs. They make them sick.
Maybe that's what's been making Jack sick. I wonder if he's been eating cicada shells.
There's no
here.
cicadas down where we're at.
True.
I mean, it's like whenever you like, I was just walking around and I was thinking of like bringing up a group text and being like, you guys hear the? I'm in DC. You guys hear this siren going off everywhere?
I got into one house and it sounded like a wood chipper going off. They were so loud.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, this is insane.
It's a constant like, like just in the
They're
background.
so loud. It's like what's that Stephen King novel? The Langoliers, where all the people are trapped in an airport and there's just this like constant ringing swimming sound in the distance of the Langoliers coming.
I'm only thinking of the birds.
Oh well.
Which was Alfred Hitchcock, right?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's Stephen King novel, the Langoliers. It's basically like the cicada just in the distance.
You've made Chase cry.
I know.
I'm not crying. It's just,
Is it the allergies killing
Yeah,
you too?
yeah.
Yeah.
I had them really bad like 2 weeks ago or whatever, where it was just like I was constantly crying the whole time.
Mom and I have had it really bad
I
this
mean,
week.
I missed a day at work because of
Like all I do is just
Yeah.
freaking sneeze, and when I wake up in the morning, my nose just runs and runs and
Oh,
runs.
It's just like popping pills in the morning. It's just like, please go away.
Pills, half a tissue box, a bottle of water,
At least
and then a
week hasn't-
baby.
And then a baby.
This week hasn't been too bad though.
Does she have allergies?
I don't know yet.
She's a
You're like,
baby.
it's hard
Chase.
to, you can't
Yeah,
tell.
she just squawks at everything. So I don't know if she has allergies or she just crapped her pants again.
It's just kind of fancy.
All she does is squawk and coo and caw.
That's all she does.
Nothing,
all she does.
nothing
Just,
constructive yet.
just lays there. And
She constantly has a fist raised.
Yeah, she's like this all the time.
She literally sleeps with just an arm up.
She's like freedom
All the
fighter
time.
power.
All the time.
Yeah, she always just has a fist up.
she's leading the rebellion.
She is.
She's a weird baby.
She's something else. She's a good baby. She's just
Weird baby.
Yeah. That's just what babies are. They're weird.
All right, well, to important things.
Wow.
Not trying to say anything about that.
It's not.
Yeah. Let me see. I finished watching Attack on Titan.
I'm sorry.
Final season.
Sorry. Is it the final season actually over? Like it's
No,
Did they end
No.
it?
So,
Oh.
have you finished it? You guys
I've
finished?
finished
I've read the
manga.
manga.
We've finished the manga.
So you guys are all done.
Yeah,
with
so
it.
you can say whatever.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So it's
spoilers.
Limp over Attack on Titan Land.
Oh, you still got a ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And stuff. That's where this current, I guess, first half is over or whatever.
I thought this was the final season.
It is.
And that I think it was, and then they're just like, oh, it's not.
Because like people haven't become birds and stuff yet, have they?
All right. Yeah.
You ain't done yet.
You're not disappointed fully yet.
So I was watching it, and like my first initial reaction just by seeing the trailers alone is just like, oh, why is it a new studio? You know, why does Mappa have to do this when Wit was doing such a great job? It's a new director too. It's not Tetsuro Araki anymore. It's I can't remember what the guy's name. And so I was kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to, like, you know, I don't know if this is going to ruin the rest of the show for me or whatever, but I watched it and I was just like, yeah, it was, regardless of like what you think of like the animation quality and everything, it's solid. Everything is like, it does exactly what it needs to do.
I mean, I don't think that was people's main issue because it's a new studio and people just want to nitpick, but I mean, it was perfectly fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, so my nitpicks are the character designs look gross. And it's funny because like the manga looked gross and then the actual anime looked not great, but kind of gross still, whatever. And now it just looks even more gross. And I'm just like, man,
might be intentional.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of like the character designs. The animation isn't bad. It's just it picks and chooses what it wants to be good.
The manga panels can be really confusing sometimes too. When I was reading, I was like, what the heck is going on in this panel?
Like,
there's so many lines and I don't know where the action is.
Well, it's like JoJo panels.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have the outlines around the characters anymore. There's no one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I thought that was so cool looking, like when they first came out, because nothing really looked like that, like when it first came out. And then even when like the third season was out, nothing still looked like that.
I mean, I think the only shows that did that before were like Akagi, the gambler show.
Yeah.
They had the heavy black outlines.
Kaiji. Yeah. But yeah. I mean that one, because that was like it felt like the manga literally was just being animated in color. And so
I know Madhouse has done some stuff where they would do heavy outlining.
Right. But this was the first, if I'm not mistaken, this was the first thing Wit Studios ever did was Attack on Titan. And so
this is their freshman outing.
Because if I'm not mistaken again, it's for people from Production IG all left, and they're just like, or
I think it was a mixed mash of Production IG and some Madhouse people, and some other stuff.
And they're like Wit Studios, and ever since like Attack on Titan, I was always just like, this is like one of my favorite studios, just for like the quality of like everything they make. Because they did what's it called? Like last year they did Great Pretender. After Attack on Titan in 2014, they did Seraph of the End, which is basically like another Attack on Titan clone. They did Cabaneri and the Iron Fortress, another Attack on Titan clone. They did a lot of Attack on Titan stuff like early on or whatever. But I always thought like their style was like really cool. So like the fact, and I like Mappa. I really do like Mappa a lot, but I don't like them as much as Wit, is what I think.
I haven't kept up with like any new studios.
The new ones.
Eric quit anime.
Yeah, because I'm still like in the boomer era where it's like Bones and.
I mean, does 3 Hertz sound like a new studio to you? Do you know what they did?
I know the name 3 Hertz.
Gotcha. So yeah, they did like Princess Principal, Flip Flappers. What else they did? They did the Sword Art Online alternative thing or whatever. What I like about them is their goal is to make original anime all the time. They don't want to make something off of like a manga or like a novel or anything.
It's like PA Works.
Yeah. And well, I mean, PA Works still makes them.
I mean, they'll adapt some stuff, but 90% of their stuff is original material.
Yeah, because they just want to make new anime and stuff like that, and that's always like a good thing, you know. Because there's always like, you know, you think of Attack on Titan and there's like the manga and the anime and the live action movies and the video games.
So yes and no. Yes, it's good because it's an original story. It's new. No, most of the time the anime is used to promote the source material.
Yeah.
So.
But at the same time, I'm not gonna read the source material and stuff like that.
I don't read. I can't read.
I can't read.
It's funny.
But yeah, I thought it was really good. Season. I felt it was very weird, but there was plenty of moments that were just like, yes, this is like perfect. Like the Levi fight. Oh my goodness. That was by far the coolest thing. I like stood up in my chair, like fist pumping like Charlotte and everything. I was just like, yeah, let's go. But I will say it does feel I mean, obviously it is. It's very different from like the previous stuff because once they revealed that stuff at the end of
once they get to the
part 2.
basement,
Yeah.
just like
once they revealed everything at the end of season 3, season
it's
4
like
is
it's
just
like a different anime.
Yeah,
it's a different anime, and now it's just a bunch of info dumps.
right.
Like there's a ton of info dumps,
which I don't like.
I mean,
Very
you don't like the
much.
info dumps, or you don't like the new?
No, I like it being a little more like info dumps aren't bad, but it's got to be done right.
Well, it's just I think he has to get so much information out for season
Right.
4 and the finale to work.
Right, because he's literally
which
wrapping
is
things up at this
still
point.
garbage.
'Cause
but
he-
whatever. And Eric's like, he's right. It's bad. It's
I mean,
not
I
good."
know it's not the best. It's just I think he pinned it all on that basement,
Yeah.
and then since it was all that, it's just like it was the bottleneck. Once you pop that open, it all has to come rushing out.
I mean, yeah, if you look on Mal, so the final season, if I'm not mistaken, it made it up to like number 1 spot or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And since it's ended, it's dropped down to 4, whereas season 3 part 2 is still at number 2 on there. So people's love for part 2 is still there, but then when the final season's like going on, they're just like, okay, it's
yeah.
you shoulda-
it's- yeah.
you should have seen like the Reddit threads and the forum threads for the final chapter of Attack on Titan. Half the,
Oh,
co-
the
half,
4chan threads were
half the-
just, oh my word.
half the comments were like, so they're like, is this it? Like,
What this?
we waited,
What?
we waited for this.
We
Like,
13 years for this?
yeah. So
But Wild Red, regardless, you know, it's
Oh, yeah.
oh my goodness, I can't think of a show that like it's like I always think of it like in top tier, and it's like I always think like, is this gonna be on my favorite list or whatever? Because I don't know if you know this or whatever. I don't have a full 10. I use only like 7 out of the 10 that you can use like on Mal or whatever, because it's just like if it's not like the peak or whatever, it's not going on here or whatever.
yeah,
For me.
'cause
But Attack on Titan's one that keeps like pushing the border. I'm like, is it? I don't know.
I would say Attack on Titan is going to be a defining show, especially for this generation of
Oh, yeah,
viewers.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
It's,
Yeah, it's you think of like all the older shows or whatever, but it's just like they're like all the older shows are like they're only big in like the weeb side of things or whatever. Whereas
That's what I'm saying, like
yeah.
that generation going into it, because obviously there's shows that define our generation.
Yeah.
So
it would have just been so much better if that basement didn't exist. Like if they
Or
would have just
like
the
he
whole-
gets there and like the basement's just destroyed.
like the whole premise was so cool, and then once the basement hit and everything like gets explained, I'm just sitting there like,
I mean,
this is kind of stupid.
okay, I mean when it got explained, I thought it was really good.
yeah,
But once as they start
so-
revealing stuff, and it's just like, okay, like there's less imagination.
once
to it.
Aaron goes on his like, I gotta do my thing.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
like, this is.
I mean, that's why I said like the information's cool, the lore is cool. It's just he pinned it all on that basement, and now he just has to keep info down
Yeah.
to keep up with what's going on.
Because when they revealed it, it's just like, oh, like, you know,
That's
there's
where
this
it
makes
is.
sense,
This is what
that
came
makes sense.
from, and,
and
oh.
I felt like that was like really good or whatever how they did that. But when they start, it's not something they can avoid or whatever. But in like the final season, when they start revealing stuff, and like there's less imagination to it because you're actually seeing it.
Well, it's just that he has to dump like thousands of years of lore and an
Yeah,
entire
yeah.
nation and all this other stuff just really quickly on you.
Which I think it's actually pretty good. I actually really like it, but
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's.
Yeah,
I think
just
it's.
wait till those last 5 or 6 chapters.
He just has to info dump it.
let me tell you something. I've watched a lot of shows where they just kind of get bad at the end or whatever.
This is
I wouldn't say
it's not bad. It's just
disappointing.
Yeah.
It's this is it.
It's
It's the
disappointing.
it's the Star Wars Episode 9 kind of thing. It's just like this is it. This is what it was all leading up to or whatever.
the ending style is something that's been done before. They could have done it better if that's the kind of ending they wanted. And the kind of ending they gave you,
okay.
I'm just like, I mean, yeah, but why?
Gotcha. Because actually, oh man, I don't.
I
like
always
that.
go back to thinking like, thank Code Geass. There's a bunch of different ways you could have done it, but it was really
Right.
good how they did it. This is a Code Geass ending, but not very good.
It's like you get all the pieces like in place. It's like you have everything to make something like really great, but you kind of like fumbled the ball at the end.
Yeah,
or
it's
whatever,
like
and it's just
you set up this awesome combo and you're going and you drop at the end and you're just like, I guess I'm gonna jab you to death.
Yeah,
that's kind of how it ended.
The weakest, like you just like
You're
low
just like,
jab,
well,
low
I
jab.
get that worked,
Yeah.
but this isn't very good. So
No great finisher.
It's
at
the old,
end
like
or-
you get him in a stun, you do your jump in, your combo, you FADC. You don't do anything. You're just like jab, FADC jab.
and that's kind of how it ended. There was so much setup that was like it had a lot of potential, and they did something. He did something with it, but you're just like, after 13 years, do better.
So
I
see,
don't know.
that's the thing about it is since the anime, if they've already seen the feedback from the manga, they have a chance to change it.
and I don't know if
I don't know if they will.
I'm about to say I don't know if they will because they've been
The
they've
authors-
been very
Yeah,
faithful to
the
manga.
purists will be very like upset.
It's
at the
just
same
not
time,
only
but-
that, the author has had an ending in mind for years.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
and is this it?
so
Okay, gotcha.
So arguably, it's stuff from the beginning chapters is foreshadowed in the ending.
You know what? If it's what he designed, I'll take it regardless.
yeah,
or
that's
whatever.
where I'm
But,
saying
yeah.
I'm like, okay, I
This
get
is
it as,
it.
as
Yeah.
a complete work. Cool, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, like I always think of I don't know if you watched it or not, but Steins Gate or whatever. There's like
I haven't watched it. I'm going to read it eventually once I get done with this stupid Doki Doki Literature Club. These girls are messed
dude,
up.
that's like a really short though.
Anyway.
But how far are you in that? Real quick?
I'm not done with like a first playthrough yet, but I'm right as you start the festival, and I've already figured out. All right, these girls are whack.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point.
Dude, all right, you're like.
But yeah, I'm
Yeah,
so
I don't want to spoil anything.
I'm
Like,
so early.
yeah, you're good. Like
once you
dude.
do go through the game though and get through everything, there's a guy that does a video that breaks down all the code and
Yeah.
explains how the game works.
Okay, I'm gonna have
It's a
to
good
look at
video.
that.
Yeah,
It's a really good video.
Because you're about to get to the stuff or whatever.
But anyway.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I was not expecting that to come out of your mouth or whatever. But anyway, Steins Gate. Steins Gate has an ending, and the ending's really good. In fact, I really like it. But if I was personally doing it, I was just like, I would be like little tweak here, little tweak here, little tweak here, or whatever. And I think it would work out a lot better. But it's not bad by any means or anything.
You would just do it a little differently.
Yeah, I would personally do it a little bit different.
It's on my to read. I was like, I need to pick up another one. Higarashi's like kind of boring. I don't know if I want to do the next chapter.
Higurashi is very boring.
I finished all the Muv-Love stuff, and I'm like, well, do I want to pick up something longer? I'm like, I could do Steins Gate, but let me do something shorter. So I'm like, I'll pick up Doki Doki Literature Club, and I started playing for like 30 minutes. I'm like, all right, I need to go do something else for a little bit because this is gonna get heavy fast.
But yeah, it's a short game, so like you can literally do it in like one sitting.
Right.
So it's really. Oh my goodness! I always think like every time I go back to it, and I'm just like, how is this like? I understand that it's like 3, but like they could have made bank off of this game or whatever if they like actually like sold it or something.
Right.
I'm assuming it's so that they could sell their next game. It was just like an advertisement kind of thing.
Sure.
So
Doki Doki Literature, I think they just said it was just a passion project. They wanted to goof around with it.
because I mean like
And it's pretty good so far. Just 40 minutes in. I'm
Yeah,
like, this
it's-
is.
like man, it's so fantastic. It's like Kojima level kind of stuff almost.
I'm gonna have to.
In a way.
I'm gonna have to finish it before I start work back up on Tuesday.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what have you guys been like?
So since last time, since we were talking about a bunch of movies, I went back and watched Reservoir Dogs. I watched Pulp Fiction. I finally watched Jackie Brown, and that's where I stopped on my Tarantino binge.
Right.
I'm gonna have to say Pulp Fiction was. It's not as good as I remembered it. Like, it's still good, but after watching Reservoir Dogs again, it's really good.
Yeah.
Like, it's really, like, I didn't realize you find out who did it at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. There's all these like little tiny like things. Like I don't know if you watched it or not, but like so if you had the Blu-rays, you could watch like basically like the clip notes or whatever, where he's like basically everyone's like talking, leaving like messages about it and stuff like that. So when White and Pink are like they're basically like just talking to each other in the next room or whatever. The first time they leave Orange or whatever.
Yeah.
The bottles in the back are filled with orange, white, and pink like liquids
Oh,
or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Like it's just like little tiny things like you won't even notice or whatever.
So I didn't notice at the restaurant scene where they were all giving their tips.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it until it's who was it? Mr. White was like, "Hey, got a tip."
Yeah. He's just like these waitresses make. This is the one job any females who don't go to college.
So you
like,
need to.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize. I was like, oh, that's the. So seeing all that stuff finally like pieced together after watching it a couple times, I'm like, Reservoir Dogs is really good. Pulp Fiction's still good, but it's I think more Tarantino-y.
Yeah. So I always think of Pulp Fiction. I always think of the coin.
Yeah.
Because like he's going on and you're like listening to it and you're just like, where's this going? It's just like, and he was trapped in camp, and the only place he could hide that was in his butt. And when he passed it on to me, the only place I could hide it was in my butt.
And I'm just sitting here like, Christopher Walken, this is just, I don't know if Tarantino was like, here, take this and make up something, or if that was scripted. I don't know.
When he finished Reservoir Dogs, he knew exactly what he was doing right after. He knew exactly what his next movie was. And he referenced it in...
because Vince Vega's the brother of...
Because they're...
what's his face's character? John
Mr.
Travolta's
Blonde.
character.
Yeah, Mr. Blonde is the brother of Vince. Vince Vega.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
They're both Vegas.
Right.
Vega.
So I didn't realize like the Tarantino verse is a thing. So like when you get to Kill Bill and Pulp Fiction, that the one girl's pilot episode, that's Kill Bill.
He has two universes. He has the realer than real universe and the movies and movies universe.
Okay.
Kill Bill's in the movies and movies universe because it's a movie in his universe.
So I watched those since I was on a movie binge, and I was like, I should probably watch an anime thing from BakaTaka. I finally watched Perfect Blue.
What'd you think of that?
It's kind of trippy. Kind of some stuff happened. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I always.
But
think
it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna have like a Japanese ending, but I was like, oh, this ended really well. I like how they ended this. I was like,
much better than Attack on Titan.
It concluded and it makes sense and I could follow it and it stretched my thinking a bit and I don't feel like I have to be smart to get this movie, and it was done really well.
Yeah. So did you notice how he would tell the differences of like what's real and what's fiction?
I could. Like towards the end, I was like, all right, I'm starting to pick up on this.
Yeah.
And it started to make sense.
It's always one of those movies where it's just like it's not like when you think of like I want to watch a movie. It's not. Yeah. It's definitely not what you want to watch.
It was one of those like I got to go out of my way and like watch one of those.
Yeah.
Good anime movies.
Yeah. It's kind of like
and then the rest of his stuff is on like I'm eventually gonna watch what is it Tokyo Millennium Girl,
Tokyo Godfather,
Millennium Actress,
Millennium Actress,
Paprika.
Yeah, all those names I watched.
Yeah. It's more.
I'm gonna get to eventually.
His stuff is more artsy.
Yeah.
It's not like very like when I think of Reservoir Dogs, I think like wow, that's really like entertaining.
Yeah.
Like regardless.
Well, it's like the thing with Satoshi Kon is he wanted to do live action stuff.
Right.
But he does so many jump cuts that it just wasn't suited for live action.
Guess I'll do anime.
Yeah, so he swapped to anime, and that's how he got these weird, freaky movies.
Yeah, and he like if you look all the characters look as like his character design style is very less anime.
I definitely got more of like, oh, this if this weren't an anime and you were just watching like an animated movie, it definitely seemed to fit that kind of trope better than an anime movie.
There's a few rotoscope scenes. What I mean, like that doesn't mean like anything, but it like there's a few scenes in there where you're just like they rotoscoped it or whatever and stuff so that it looks more live action-y to it or whatever. So I like his stuff. I don't love his stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Mamoru Hosoda. I like his stuff. I don't love his stuff.
Gotcha.
Satoshi Kon, it's a lot of hit or miss. You either like it or you don't.
Yeah, I've heard some stuff he's really wasn't very good either. And then some of the stuff was outstanding. I guess like Perfect Blue is one of his better ones, which was his first one.
So, I mean, like pretty much all his stuff is pretty like
decent.
Weeb community. Like it's acclaimed pretty much. But like, yeah, the Perfect Blue is the one that like name alone you recognize or whatever.
Well, like his stuff, you have to go out of your way to get into it.
Right.
Yeah. BakaTaka.
So I watched that, and I finally watched, because it finally came out with English subtitles, the third Heaven's Feel movie, Fate Stay Night Heaven's Feel movie. So it's, I mean, if you're looking to get a full route for Heaven's Feel, the 3 movies isn't. It's a lot of the highlights. I mean, you get what the route's trying to do, but there's a lot of stuff they cut just because you can't fit it in 6 hours worth of movies.
Right.
But you get the big fights. You get the 9-bullet revolver. So you got Shiro versus Altered Berserker. You've got the Rider Altered Saber fight. You get the 2 broken men, Kodamine and Emiya, just punching each other at the very end while Angramaniu's just like staring there waiting to be birthed, and they're just punching and kicking.
Did they do the full Shiro reality marble?
So it was weird how they did it, because it wasn't the full chant. So the new chant they didn't even do. It was like a partial chant. It was he said trigger on, and then he started the normal Unlimited Blade Works chant, but then they did the scenes in the visual novel where it's Shiro chasing after Archer, and Archer's like, keep up, and Shiro's like, nah, watch this. I'm gonna trace Berserker as a weapon and kill all his lives in one hit. So they did some of that, but it wasn't quite the same as it was in the visual novel.
I'm really excited because I have not.
It's definitely worth watching if you have no idea what's going on in Heaven's Feel.
I heard one guy pretty much give like hey, like this is kind of what goes on or whatever, but he didn't go like to the detail stuff or whatever.
Yeah,
so.
It's the big things you have to pick up on is they fully explain what the Grail War is, which is a bunch of nonsense. You have 2 Grails. You have the fake Grail, which is Sakura, and you have the real Grail, which is Ilya. And all of that's super important, because when you go back and if you go back and rewatch Fate Zero makes sense now, because it's nonsense if you don't know the stuff that's going on in Heaven's Feel.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
so
it makes zero sense.
After I watched like Fate Stay Night and Unlimited Blade Works or whatever, then I rewatched Zero. I was just like, okay, I understand the Fate universe area of it, but all the specifics. And then they just like Heaven's Feel, like in the first episode or whatever, that like I was just like, title drop. I know what that is. I know it's something.
The way he did it was just the Fate route's vague. Unlimited Blade Works explains more. Heaven's Feel explains it all.
Because I have not actually had a full, just normal Fate run of anything either, because the actual anime is not really that either and stuff. So
the cool things that were, I guess, anime specific in the movie that was really cool. They do it in the visual novel, but it's not really shown very well. But they went back and showed the original heads of the 3 families making the pact to actually form. And they had the dude there with the jeweled sword doing the thing, and Shiro's like, I see that, trace on, and he makes it. They blew the budget on the Rider saber fight. Like, all the budget went into that fight.
It's the major fight of the route.
It was astronomical. They did some new stuff when Shiro does his thing at the end of the fight, and it's heart-wrenching. Like, it's anime specific, and you're just like, this wasn't in the VN, and I'm glad they put it here, because you're like, oh, it hurts.
Is it better explained than Shiro has a better luck stat than Saber Alter?
Yes. It's much better explained. I mean, it's funny, because in the very first movie, with the True Assassin Lancer fight, he throws the knives at Lancer, and they just fly off of him, and he's like, oh, protection against arrows. He's like, I thought I knew that. And I'm just like, this is stupid. In Nasu versus Weeby stuff.
Dude, that's like playing D&D, and it's just like, like the DM says something happens, and you're just like, excuse me.
And then towards the end of that movie, when Saber does the anime specific air push thing with her saber towards True Assassin, he floats through it, and he's like, protection against wind. You need it when you go through the deserts. And I'm just sitting there like, this is why no one's gonna like these movies. Because if you don't know anything about Fate, you're gonna be like, what's this D&D stuff doing in this? Like, they literally say those lines, and Saber's just like, oh.
So I've seen a few things of like Heaven's Feel, like a few like just scenes or whatever, and just like how well they're animated. I always think of like, because like Unlimited Blade Works was really well animated too. But the movie, like if they, like I'm just thinking like, man, if they had a movie budget like all the time, if they just did like basically each route but with a movie budget.
So it's ridiculous, the budget that's in this. The choreographing's longer in UBW just because they have larger amounts of time to do the fights.
Right.
The choreographing of the fights, though, in all the Heaven's Feel movies are really good.
Oh, that's
like
that's all I want.
They're really, really good.
That's
like,
all I want.
Literally, the only reason to watch the movies is just to watch the fight scenes.
Right.
Because
right.
explaining Heaven's Feel, they do at a very high level, and you don't really understand it. But the fights are grade A. And I'm telling you, the Shiro Kodamine fight at the end is perfect because they're just two broken dudes. Shiro's literally turning into swords. Kodamine's standing there. He has no heart. He's like, I'm going to die in 2 minutes. I want to see this thing be born. Punch me. And they just start punching each other. It's great.
just like the end of Metal Gear Solid 4.
And
1-1.
And they make him, he literally looks like Armstrong from Revengeance. Like, he takes his coat off. I'm like, Kodamine's been hitting the gym. He looks jacked. Like, he's just bulky and everything. So it's really cool. So yeah, that's what I've done since then on top of wiping a baby's butt.
I have not watched anything Fate since Apocrypha.
You're not missing anything.
And
You're not missing.
You're not missing anything. Go read the original light novel. It's worth it at this point because you've seen enough of the Nasuverse. So if you like want to read, it's worth a romp because it explains everything.
Right.
The great thing about it too is you can audiobook it
Oh yeah,
because it's all fully
voiced.
voice acted.
Yeah.
hey,
But it's in Japanese.
voice acted in Japanese.
Well, it is voice
Hey.
acted.
Hey.
Actually, it's not all Japanese. Archer still says, "I am the bona fide sword."
But because he says it.
So you still get all that. But yeah, it's worth a read through. So, but it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, Fate's just kind of like been in like it's kind of like dropped out of existence for me. Since
I think
then.
everyone, well, the rest of the Fate people were waiting for the Tsukihime remake and game, just all that stuff to fill in the rest of the because Fate's like this. Stuff is stupid powerful in Fate, but Tsukihime is like, oh, hold my beer.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
Once you get to true vampires and moon princesses, it just
The stuff, the actual counter guardians are like, oh, that's important. Angermanu, I guess you can like destroy the world. Not that important. This spider that makes reality marbles as it walks, that's a big deal. We need to go take care of that.
Yeah. Just playing. Oh, and then they announced Melty Blood too.
Oh
and
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
I'm excited, man. I like just playing like a Fate game or whatever. It's always when you like play a fighting game and it's like, oh, here's characters you like, like that's what like Dragon Ball was like cool because it's like even though I don't know like half of them or whatever, I still know half of them
Because they're like half of them are Gokus.
Yeah, half of them are
Gokus.
Gokus. And I'm just like, where's Supreme Kai? I want to play him.
Yeah. That's cool. So yeah, that's all I've really been into outside of again taking care of a baby. So it's cool.
I was playing Resident Evil Village.
7.
8.
8? Is it 8?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
8. 7
Previous
was
one
the
7.
Oh jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, Biohazard was 7.
Yeah.
You mean Biohazard 7 Resident Evil?
Yeah.
Japan.
I'll say, so I think the thing, I don't know what it is, but 7 and 8 do the character big baddie chasing you and like you can't stop them.
And you don't
I
like
think
that.
I think they do it better than like 2 and 3 did.
Really?
Yeah, it's something about it.
Because it's outside of the first game, it's almost always been a thing in Resident Evil. Like 2 had Tyrant,
Right.
3 had Nemesis, 4 had the chainsaw guy early.
I think it's more of because when you run away in 7 and 8, you can tell how close the enemies are because it's in first person and everything.
Oh, okay.
You can get the distance and you can tell like the arc of their swing is just like, all right, I can like juke past these guys or whatever and stuff like that. So getting away and like I think they have it feels like the speed you move is faster too.
Probably.
And stuff. So it's like when you can bolt it out like through like 3 rooms or whatever and they're not chasing you anymore or whatever. So it's just like that's and then when they do start chasing you, you already by the time they do actually like fully like start chasing you because it's like a scripted moment in a sense or whatever, you already know the way around them and everything. So I think that's why like I can still play this one or whatever. Whereas like 2 and 3, I'm just like, Mr. X does not stop. He's following me into the safe room.
Yeah.
I just want to stop and think for a second. But I've already like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if I'm moving slow or something like that, but I've already maxed out my pistol and my shotgun, like upgrade wise. And
You're supposed to go through it really fast.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I haven't found any other weapons.
Yeah,
since
I mean,
then.
you upgrade them quick.
Gotcha.
From what I've seen.
Because I
people
mean,
playing.
they require like a lot of money or whatever, but like you're just getting like these crystals and like selling them, and it's just like that's an upgrade.
Yeah, but when you got like 3 crazy vampire girls chasing you around and you're just constantly shooting them.
already killed 2 of them.
Yeah.
Don't spoil me.
And it's just, I think in Resident Evil 7 and 8, it's scarier because the villains, they're just scarier.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem as like comic booky.
Yeah.
Because Tyrant and Nemesis just seem like straight out of like a Marvel comic.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But Forge was scary because you had the dude with the potato bag on his head with the chainsaw chasing you down in that village. That was legit scary.
Right.
And the Executioner in 5 was scary.
But they weren't like a full chasing you the entire game.
So 7 and 8, they don't. Well, 7's more specifically. 8 actually kind of does. They don't really focus on like the weak guys as much. Like there's not just normal zombies that much walking around. It's more of like the big bosses. So understanding that mechanic, you understand how to like,
which is
just like, if I shoot the big guy, I'm just wasting ammo.
Yeah, which is a big change from normal Resident Evil because it's resource management against all those hordes of things that you're not supposed to kill. You're supposed to go around and selectively kill, which sounds like they've changed in the first person, which is cool. That's fine, but that's not historically what Resident Evil has been doing.
And it's more storytelling.
Yeah.
For 7 and 8.
Yeah, because like
you had to piece together a lot of the story in the other Resident Evils. Like stuff happened, but you're like, why did this happen?
The themes in 8, because it's like very Castlevania kind of like style or whatever. I think like 8's like really good. Like I like 7, but 7's like it feels gross. Everything feels gross.
Very creepy.
Yeah, whereas 8. Everything's creepy, but like at least there's like things like inside the castle actually like looks nice, and stuff. So it's just like okay, like I get it. You know, it's gross when it needs to be or whatever, but like everything isn't looking gross.
Yeah, and some of the bosses were weird. 7, like the first guy where you fight him in his garage. I was like, this is just a weird ass boss fight.
And then he's like, I'm not done yet.
Dude just like doing donuts in his garage.
Yeah.
Car, and
you're just like ramming him. Like he jumps in the car with you. He's like, let's drive.
Yeah.
And he like rams into some spikes.
That was a weird boss fight for Resident Evil. Like you've gone through swamps with giant crocodiles chasing you.
Yeah.
You've fought some weird stuff in Resident Evil. That was probably one of the weirdest boss fights I've seen in Resident Evil.
Like in 7 had the second boss is like the spider lady or whatever. Yeah. That's like, oh my god.
That was creepy. That whole section was creepy.
I hate spiders, and like just the fact that like when you go through things you have to like brush them off your hand and everything. I'm just like
that entire section of the game was creepy.
Right. But 8 isn't like scary. It's not as scary as 7 and stuff, because 7 just, you know, everything looked gross and stuff like that, so everything kind of freaks you out or whatever. Whereas 8, when you like look at things, it's just like, okay, I can like understand this, and like understanding the concepts of like the game or whatever and stuff like that. It's not as scary, but it's more fun to play, in my opinion. Which is one of the big reasons why I like 6 a lot, because it's not scary at all, and it's just goofy and fun.
6 went straight up like almost Devil May Cry goofiness, which I think is what turned off a lot of the
the thing about it is that was like the best selling one.
Really?
Yeah, 6 is like one of the best.
4 would like a word with you.
No, like literally 6 is like, I think other than 7 and 8.
I have to look this up.
Yeah.
I don't get
out the fact, because 4 is like regarded.
4's been on like 10 different systems.
Yeah. But 6, so is 6 actually too. 6 they released on PS3, PS4, PS5.
Just know the scariest thing I think we've ever encountered in Resident Evil, at least for me, maybe for Erik too. You do not know what horror is until you play 5 and you walk into a dark room and all of a sudden liquors are back.
What are the liquors?
So you remember? How far did you get into?
I got. They're pretty much to when Mr. X starts chasing you.
They're the things that crawl along the floor, and they don't really have a face, and they just have a really long tongue that comes out and hits you.
I may have seen.
Yeah, so they weren't really around after 2, and then they just appear all of a sudden in 5. When you get to the lab section, everything's dark, and they're bullet sponges, and it's the creepiest thing in the world. Because it's the first time you've seen them like high def. Actual 3D.
Right.
Like, when you saw them in 2, it's like, there's like 1 or 2 in
PS1,
a room.
yeah.
You like clunky aim with your grenade launcher. Like, all right, these things suck, but I can deal with them. In 5, it's like, no, here's 7 shotgun shells. I hope you make it through the room.
Because I think that's the thing about 8 is just like when you realize what you can ignore or whatever, or what's going to be like a waste of ammo and stuff like that. And they're also they give you they're pretty generous with the ammo or whatever.
Gotcha.
I got up to like 60 rounds of like my pistol or whatever, and I think it's like the lowest it's gotten since I've had that mount is like 50.
Oh wow.
Because you realize it's like, okay, the weak guys take 4 headshots or whatever, and like you can literally like you can move out of the way of like their swings and stuff like that, or block it and everything.
So Resident Evil 6 has a total across all of its systems 11,631,400 copies sold.
All right, that's pretty respectable.
Resident Evil 5 across all of its systems had 13,440,000 sold.
Oh, I lied.
Resident
Evil
Evil 4
Some astronomical.
10,888,067.
Wow.
across
So
all
5
systems.
sold more across all systems.
Yep. 5 is the top selling one.
And 7.
It's those biceps Chris has.
I think in
you want system sellers? Well,
I think in 7 they sold like 10 like over like 10 million or whatever and it was
9
less.
million.
okay, so that's
And they're like it underperformed. That's what they're like about 7.
this is the stupid thing about AAA games. Like when you sell almost 10 million games, and you're just like, well,
So I mean, like 7.
we've
so
underperformed.
7 on the PS4 had the VR capability. Dude, that thing is terrifying.
Yeah.
When you so the thing about it is like horror, you like look away from the screen or you like close your eyes like when something like you don't want to see is happening. If it's strapped to your face or
Right,
whatever,
you can't. Just,
yeah.
I can't look away.
Oh, it's over here too.
Even Jason's like, oh.
I mean, that's like Outlast is on
Oh,
VR.
yeah.
It's just
Right,
like, you
right.
have to look. Like if you want to run
Yeah.
away and get away, you have to look.
Dude, Jason, you gotta look at it.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
You die in game, or you're just that's it. That's where it ends.
That's where it is.
I guess I'm not playing anymore.
Freaking game.
Yeah.
But yeah,
All
it's
F4 delete.
like VR is like the perfect like horror machine, pretty much. Like someone just needs to make like some like I guess I mean 7 is still good or whatever for it or whatever, but I don't know. I don't want to play the PSVR when I play like a game like that or something like that.
Just get an Oculus.
Yeah.
Because they're like $300. Because we talked about this before. They're like $300 now. You set your area, and that's
The Quest.
the Quest. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Quest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Quest. I'm so gonna get one.
And it's with your PC too, so it'll go off your PC specs, so it'll just look better.
Yeah. Well, so no, the Quest is standalone.
Oh yeah, Quest is standalone.
Yeah. The
And
Vive.
the HTC Vive is.
Yeah, the Oculus and the Vive are
Yeah.
the ones. Yeah.
Which one of those is the one that Steam is producing?
Steam can go through all 3.
Steam-
Well,
does them all.
so Steam,
Oh,
But
the
I think
Vive.
they
Yeah, the
promote-
Vive.
Valve
Yeah,
themselves
The Vive.
is-
yeah, they
okay,
promote the Vive.
they're so from what I understand, that's like the best one.
Yeah, because what you can do is you can get full body tracking on it and stuff like that. You place the cameras all around.
But
your
that's
room or
one where you
whatever.
need to clear out your garage
To play.
and to set it up.
So from what I understand, Valve is coming out with some big announcements about what they're doing with VR. So if you want like horror VR stuff, keep that on your radar.
So, but, I mean, so they did the Half-Life Alyx thing last year or whatever, and apparently that's like basically like one of the best VR games in existence or whatever.
Because they did some coding phenomenons where like there's just weird physics in the game that
Right.
it's like realistic.
Right, and
So-
like picking up things and like throwing
Yeah,
things.
because there were some AMAs about it. They're like, how did you get the water like in the bottle to like be physically real? And they're
Right,
just
right,
like we just did some stuff and it worked out.
we just pulled some black magic
Yeah.
out.
It's literally like some black magic
Yeah.
coding.
And then like the same year, the Medal of Honor VR game came out. It sucked.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was a Medal of Honor
Yeah,
VR game.
it was by Respawn, the Titanfall people or whatever.
They just botched
And
it.
it apparently it's not good.
That's
Probably
not-
some C team. Just like, it just makes guys.
Dude, they just need to make Titanfall 3, man.
Maybe.
Titanfall 3.
Too busy doing Apex, making that Apex money.
EA needs to make the next Battlefield Bad Company 3.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think what Battlefield 6 leak just came out because
Did it?
E3's happening,
Oh,
and I think Battlefield 6 is going to be a
That's
thing.
not Bad
We're not getting any more Bad Company.
Dude.
In this political climate,
Yeah.
there's no way
Oh,
we're
yeah,
getting
yeah,
Bad
absolutely.
Company.
I think they said
it's going to be woke training company.
Right.
If anything.
I think they said a long time ago too. They said we're just not doing Bad Company anymore. Just
mean,
Battlefield is the main series,
which
and that's
made
what
everybody
sells.
upset
Yeah.
because that was a pretty cool.
Yeah, Bad Company's like what Full Metal Jacket could have been.
Yeah.
It could have been like great.
Yeah, But I think EA is just playing it safe now. It's just like Battlefield sells and Bad Company is just too hot.
Yeah,
Of a thing to touch.
The amount of money that they would have to put into it, plus all the political correctness bullcrap that's in video games now, they're like, we don't want to mess with that.
Here's
Like more brown man shooter.
The demolition mechanics for
the
it, like
physics engine and stuff?
they were like so good in that one,
especially for that time. It was like what 2011, 2012 at the time.
2010.
Yeah, and everyone's just like, this is unreal. You want really good demolition stuff? Go back and play like the first 2 Red Faction games on the PlayStation 2. It's ridiculous how good it is, even to this day.
There's some stuff you can do with Red Faction too. Like you can literally just get a rocket launcher and blow it into the wall and make your own tunnel yourself.
Right.
And this is in like 02, 03.
I mean, the new current Battlefields, like the destruction mechanics in it, they're still good or whatever, but it's not as clear as like Bad Company was. Bad Company, like you look at like a building and you're just like corner, middle, corner, middle, or whatever. Like, because the corners blow up half of like the middle panels or whatever, and then if you shoot the middle structure or whatever, it's just like I don't know what to do anymore. And also the maps, like the maps in Bad Company, like were so good. The color palette for Bad Company 2 was like really good in my opinion. It was the washed out grays or whatever, but it's not like it didn't have the lens flare.
It had a lot of that film grain kind of look to it a bit, and they didn't have the Blume glare stuff into it. That was Battlefield 3 was when they really started pushing that.
They used a lot of just solid colors on the maps, because it wasn't gray, there wasn't lens flare, there wasn't bloom.
So it's like when you like look at like one guy having like a red beret or whatever, like it like stood out and stuff like that. And like the snipers would always be in ghillie suits or whatever, so you just see pushes running around everywhere.
And they actually use like overcast maps instead of everything being bright, sunny lens flare.
Yeah,
that's what got really annoying in Battlefield 3, because I was like, why is this so different from Bad Company?
Right. And Battlefield 3 is just faster is what it's.
That's true. It was a lot faster, which is weird for a Battlefield game because it was inherently a slower paced game.
Yeah,
I mean
it was a slower squad based thing.
Yeah, because if you go all the way back to Battlefield 1942, that game was slow.
Yeah. And like I played 43 like a bit or whatever, and like playing that one is like that's slow too.
It's
but
a slog.
It felt right. It felt right because it's just like, all right, big like open area. You don't want to just be like people just like.
I guess it's kind of like playing PUBG a little bit. The speed, the original Battlefield games, it was just a lot
bit
slower
faster than
and methodical.
Yeah. It in comparison to like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Stuff.
I mean, the game itself was vastly different because it was all tank meta.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing was to get them into a certain spawn point, grab a tank, and then you farm
and then
them.
have the classes spawn that push.
Call of Duty was speed and Battlefield was scale, pretty much. Is like what they were going for and everything. All right. Well, that's all we have time for today.
That's the best segue we have for ending. Talking about Battlefield. Well, we're done. So.
Well, that was Battlefield. As always, sitting on the left, it's been
Jeff.
In the middle,
Erik.
And I'm on the right, and I'm Chase. Thanks for watching BakaTaka. George, I hope to see you soon.
That wasn't George. That's actually my wife telling you, here's some houses I'm picking out for Erik.
Bye.
Wait, what?
That's a routine with the what?
Yeah, she's texting me. It's like, I'm house hunting for Erik. Here's some houses I found.
Is she kicking me out?